By early 1944, Japan's war machine was beginning to unravel, and it was no longer able to produce and maintain sufficient numbers of aircraft, ships, and weapons. Existing planes were outdated and outnumbered, and only inexperienced and inadequately trained young pilots were available to fly them. The Japanese military realized that it could no longer compete with the state-of-the-art American planes and vessels, and that a new strategy was needed. The idea of intentionally crashing into an enemy ship was not new, and individual pilots on both sides had been known to do so when their planes had been irreparably damaged. Japanese pilots were already discussing the effectiveness of kamikaze tactics in inflicting damage upon American vessels. A few days prior to the Battle of Leyte Gulf, Admiral Onishi ordered the first organized and intentional one-way mission. From this point on, kamikaze operations became the focus of Japan's aerial attempts to inflict damage upon the advancing U.S. forces. To justify and encourage young pilots to plummet to their deaths, the Japanese military reverted to the centuries-old philosophies, traditions, and rituals of the samurai. As Japan's idolized historic warriors, the samurai were natural role models for young pilots. Kamikaze missions were portrayed as the ultimate embodiment of the three essentials for a warrior: loyalty, duty, and valor. Kamikaze pilots were displaying their loyalty to their superior officers by following orders to intentionally crash their planes into enemy ships. They were serving their duty to their country by protecting its sovereignty at the cost of their lives. And finally, by willingly embracing their deaths, these pilots were showing their courage and fearlessness. The military propagated the code of Bushido and the teachings of other samurai texts such as Hagakure. They promoted the idea that to continue to live without fulfilling the aim of destroying one's enemy was a mark of shame, cowardice, and dishonor. Since kamikaze missions were now the most effective means of attacking American ships, pilots could courageously attain an honorable death in the pursuit of attacking the enemy. Furthermore, the chances of inflicting the most damage were highest when pilots kept their eyes focused on the target till the moment of impact. As a result, pilots were taught the samurai principle of maintaining composure and tranquility at the moment of death. The military made efforts to promote the image of kamikaze pilots as honorable samurai warriors. In group pictures, these men often had their katanas by their sides. Prior to taking off, pilots performed seppuku-like rituals in which they would drink sake and recite a death poem. Evocative of the honor conferred upon samurai who committed junshi prior to its prohibition, successful kamikaze pilots were given a posthumous 2-rank promotion. Pilots also gained acclaim and veneration in Japan. Military propaganda invoked Lord Asano's final poem to compare the sacrifice of kamikaze pilots to falling cherry blossoms. Like the 47 loyal retainers, kamikaze pilots were romanticized and honored in Japan for their ultimate sacrifice. In the early hours of August 15, 1945, with the Emperor's unconditional surrender imminent, Admiral Ugaki prepared for a final attack on Okinawa. Like many of Japan's military leaders who had already committed suicide, Ugaki did not see surrender as an option. That morning, he led a squadron toward Okinawa to carry out the last kamikaze mission of World War II. In a final radio message, Ugaki reflected on his impending death. "I am going to make an attack on Okinawa, where my men have fallen like cherry blossoms. There I will crash into and destroy the conceited enemy in the true spirit of Bushido." Ugaki's futile action on the eve of surrender was no doubt the fulfillment of the path indicated by Hagakure, to plunge recklessly towards an irrational death.
In every line in your palm, rare fools to